Hi, my name's Anna and this is where I share all my making. So today's video is going to be all about knitting, but I do also do some crochet and sewing and whatever else takes my fancy. Thank you for anyone who watched my previous videos. I'm still getting used to talking and sharing on camera, but I'm just enjoying having it as a record for me more than anything, of what I've been making, and I hope you enjoy it as well. So today's video I'm going to be going over some projects that I finished in the last few months, then what I've cast on recently, and also a bit about my recent trip to Unravel Festival in Farnham in the UK, which was a couple of weekends ago, so that'll be at the end of the video. So yeah, let's get started. The project that I finished knitting the longest ago, but only just sort of finished as it were, are these socks. So these I knit on the circular sock machine. They're a 3x1 rib for the main sock and then a 1x1 rib for the cuff. So I knit these actually before Christmas, but I've only just got around to taking off all the waste yarn and grafting the toe and things, so they still need blocking. I literally finished sewing them up this morning, but I'm so pleased with how this yarn has come out. So this is hand dyed by Emma from the Woolly Mammoth Fibre Co. It's the first time I've ever used her yarn. I've watched her vlogs for a long time, and love watching her dyeing process. I'm very jealous of her studio. But yeah, this is the colourway Jelly. Whoop, sorry, the blocker's swinging around. This is the colour Jelly Babies, and it's a blend of 50% BFL and 50% Cheviot. So it's got a nice bit of tooth to it, but it should be nice and cosy as a sock. So I have a pair of those ready to block. Thankfully, we've had some sun recently. It does finally feel like spring. So they shouldn't take too long to dry, and then I'm looking forward to wearing those. So I'm very glad that I have got them sewn up. They've sort of been sat in a project bag, staring at me each evening when I choose to do something else rather than sew them up, but they are done. So the next thing I finished since I filmed an update is this. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it all. Ooh, is that all in screen? Before I topple backwards. This is the Penny Vest by, I think it's pronounced Skall Studio. It's Skall, and they're a ready-to-wear brand, Scandinavian I think, and you can buy these vests for, it's over like €200, but they also sell the knitting pattern. So I thought, well, don't have €200, but I do have some yarn and a pair of knitting needles. So I cast this on in Piece Fleece in the worsted weight. This is the colourway Grassroots, which if I hold up, hopefully you can see all the different colour flecks going through there. I love this yarn. I picked this up when we were over in the States for Rhinebeck in the autumn. I will say it's a beautifully laid out pattern. It's quite minimal in instructions, so I wouldn't recommend it as a beginner, but if you sort of know your way around how a garment's constructed, it's got some really nice finishing details, which I think maybe comes from it being a ready-to-wear pattern. I'm not quite sure, or designed by a ready-to-wear company. So just little things like this rib around the sleeves is knit as you go, and then it's just sort of finished off nicely under the arms, and I really like the neckline on this, and it's sort of, when I wear it, I wasn't too fussy about gauge, so I'm not quite sure how it's meant to fit, but it's got a slightly capped kind of sleeve. It also didn't say anywhere until you bought the pattern how much yarn you'd need, which is a little bit odd. So I've got the pattern here. So if anyone was interested in making this, it suggests using 300 grams of double knit yarn, 200 meters to 100 grams. So I actually used a worsted weight, so a little bit chunkier. And this is what I have left of the fourth ball. So probably, I don't know, 3/4 of it left. It's quite solid still. But I think I will need some of this because despite my best efforts, I was trying to keep knitting to make it long enough, and I was so keen to finish it over Christmas that I think I was a little bit short on the length. So I've worn it a few times and it looks fine. I'm just not fully comfortable. I like things to be a bit longer. I'm not very into cropped stuff. So and this sort of hits like just at the top of my jeans. So I think I'm gonna unpick, thankfully, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place with my sentences. Thankfully I didn't do an Italian bind off because, to be honest, I couldn't be bothered. But that means that I don't feel too bad unpicking this. And I think I can get away with just adding an inch or two to the rib. I don't think I'm gonna go back and back to the stockinette and go from there, because that would obviously take longer and be a bit more knitting to redo. So I think just adding an inch onto the rib will work. But I love this fabric. I'm really pleased with how it's knit up and all the colours in it, and yeah, so I think this will be nice either on its own, or I've got a kind of like duck eggy tealy blue long sleeve top that I wear under it, which works quite well, kind of picks out the blue shades in that. So that is the second finish object. It doesn't actually say who the designer is, it's just sort of sold under the School brand, but you can get it on their website, and they send you a PDF. So yeah, there are only two sizes, so I knit the larger of the two. I can't find now where it says. Yes, there's an extra small or a medium large, so it's not the most size inclusive, well, not at all really, but I did enjoy it and I am pleased with the finished result. So that is that one. And then the final finished object is this rather bright, I think the sun might be hitting it quite nicely, little scarf. So I actually cast this on, when was it? Christmas 2023, I think it was. So it's a design called the Turtle Dove Shawl by Sari Nordland, and it was originally an advent pattern, so it's in 4 sections. I think she released it weekly, and I've knit it up in this beautiful yarn from the Wool Kitchen, lovely Helen. I got this quite a few years ago at Unravel, so I'm afraid I don't remember the colour names, but it's a strand of her 4-ply and a strand of her silk mohair. And I was sort of waiting, I fell in love with the colour and was just sort of waiting for the right project. I was going to make a hat originally, but I own a lot of hats, so I never quite got around to casting one on. And then when I saw this pattern, I fancied something with cables, and I liked the idea that it was a sort of smaller project rather than a whole all over cable jumper or something. I didn't quite want to commit to that level of work. So yeah, I think the reason I didn't quite get going with it is I don't love reading from charts. They don't sort of click with me very naturally. I prefer having everything written out. So it took me quite a while to get into it, and then I put it down for a while, and I kept sort of trying to restart in dribs and drabs, but never quite got into it. So I think I'd maybe only done about this much when I came back to it this winter, but I just stuck at it, and I did get a lot quicker. I got the cable patterns in my head, and yeah, it all went a lot quicker. So I think if I'm doing cable projects in the future, I just need to really get my teeth into them so that it clicks. But I love all the different sections of this. I think this sort of wave might be my favourite. So yeah, I mean, I could put it on, I suppose. I just sort of tie it like so, without strangling myself. There we go, slightly to the side, and then I sort of try and, let's see, that's the back, is it? Yeah, when I have a mirror, I try and get it so that the right side is facing at the front here. But I wore this to Unravel and I got a lot of compliments on it, which was nice. I think it's just such a fun pop of colour, and yeah, I think I'd like a break from cables, but I could see myself making more. It was a really nice project, and also great because it really didn't use very much yarn. I've probably got more than half of both skeins left, so I'm not quite sure what I'll do with those, a colour pop in something. But yeah, I'm really pleased with this. It came out really nicely, and it was another one that blocked really well. Like all the cables opened up, and I made the effort to like scrunch all the bobbles so that they stood out. So yeah, really pleased with that one. So that is everything I have finished recently. I've sort of been flitting around between sewing and what else have I been doing? I did a lot of cross stitch as well. I got a lovely cross stitch kit for Christmas, so I was doing a lot of that. So slightly less knitting. I think I'll probably do a video in a couple of weeks that's everything else that isn't knitting, just so you can see what else I've been getting up to. So in terms of cast-ons, this is something I've made recently. I'm rather pleased with it. I will talk more about it. But on the drive home, so I live in West Wales and home is Norfolk, so quite a long drive home for Christmas. But luckily I was a passenger, so I cast on the Musselburgh hat by Isolde Teague, which I've seen a lot of online, but I'd never made one, which, considering how many hats I have made, is very remiss of me. But you can see this is how it's going. So I cast on this end, knit to halfway using this is, I don't quite know how to say it, Biches Buches. That was terrible. I can actually speak some French, and that was not a good example of it. I'm not going to try again, but it's their Le Petit Lamb's Wool in this light blue. I'm afraid I don't have the colour name with me. If I remember and can find it, I will pop it on the screen. And then at the halfway point, I've switched to this lovely dark blue, which has sort of purples and lighter blues and sort of teals running through it, which really pretty. So the second half is going to be in this colour, so at some point fairly soon, I think, yeah, and you sort of need to get to here, I will then start doing the decreases to make the sort of second crown, and then you fold them inside each other. So the idea being that I can either wear it as a dark blue hat with a light blue brim, or a light blue hat with a dark blue brim. So I think that will be really useful. I love this fabric. I'm intrigued to see how it's going to block. I feel like it might bloom a fair bit, but it's a lovely balance of sort of, it's got a bit of texture, but it's still nice and soft, and I don't find it at all itchy. So I've been enjoying that. That's been my, if anyone else follows the rugby, the Six Nations has been on. So that is what I've been knitting whilst the rugby's been on, because I can watch the screen without having to pay too much attention. So that is one of my current projects. I do have some socks on the go, but they've been on the go for months and haven't really got anywhere, so I won't show you them today. And then the other big project is slightly linked to Unravel, but I will explain how in a minute, is this. So this is the long weekend sweater from Erica Knight's new collection that she's done in collaboration with Walcot Yarns and A Yarn Story. So this is, I think it's the only sort of plain jumper. The others have all got some really interesting intarsia and slip stitch patterns and things. So this is the plain jumper. It will have a really lovely full neck, and then it's got big balloon sleeves and a nice relaxed fit in the body. So I've got to this stage. So we have armholes, and then I've knit, what have we got, about 1 inch of the body. And that is my second ball of yarn done. So what I think I'm going to do is put the body on hold and get the sleeves done next, and then once they're finished I can just whiz around the body and it's, and the neck, and then it's complete. But it means that I won't have, hoping I won't then get stuck on the sleeves. So it's knit in Origin. The whole collection is done in Origin, which is a worsted weight, and this is the colour Juniper. So you can see in the sun it's really nice and bright, and then a bit more muted, but it's a lovely fresh green, and I do love this colour. So I am looking forward to being able to wear this. I've knit one other jumper in Origin. I knit, I think it's either Lakeland or Lakeside by Fiona Alice. It was in issue 4 of Liner, so I knit that in Origin quite a while ago. So it's nice to be working with this yarn again, and it's got some really nice details along the back of the shoulders, and then this rib section will kind of run around the top of the arms. So I think it's going to be a really wearable jumper, so I have been working away on that. I'm not sure how long I can keep going with just having stockinette projects on the go. I think I might get a little bit bored, so I might need to cast something else on to go alongside these and rotate through them depending on my mood. So that is the Long Weekend Sweater by Erica Knight. So I think that's everything that I have finished making or am currently working on. So the last thing I wanted to chat about in this video, ooh, the sun's coming, I'm gonna get blinded. I am not complaining, by the way. It is, I did just actually sit outside like this for a while the other morning because I thought make the most of it while it's here. We have got the snowdrops are all out at the minute, which is beautiful, and I can see there's some daffodils I've been watching out of this window for weeks waiting for them to open, and they are finally just starting to, which is very nice. So the last thing I wanted to talk about in this video was Unravel Festival. So I've been going to Unravel Festival for quite a few years. It was, I think it was the first ever yarn festival I went to. So before, in my previous role, I was a shop assistant and then manager at Yarn Story in Bath. And before I worked there and sort of entered the world of yarn and knitting properly, I didn't know that yarn festivals existed. So I went to work Unravel, and that was my first experience of a yarn festival. And it was wonderful. It was so lovely just to see everyone in one place enjoying their making and getting excited about other people's outfits and makes and finding new yarn and projects and all of that good stuff. So I do love Unravel, and I've gone every year since, I think, apart from, you know, the blip with the pandemic, but we won't talk about that. So I went every year with a Yarn Story. There was one year I wasn't working and I went anyway just to go hang out with people. And then last year I helped Johnny on the Garthenor stand, but they weren't there this year. So it was sort of getting closer and closer, and I didn't want to miss out. So I booked a very last minute ticket and a room at the Premier Inn, and just went mainly to see everyone. Now that I'm over in West Wales, I don't really get to see that many people. So I just wanted to go say hi and catch up. And it was lovely. I got there, I drove over on the Friday, I think it was, and met a lot of friends for dinner. And then I went round the show on Saturday, and then I was meant to come home, but I ended up staying an extra night so that I could go for dinner again with everyone. And then I drove back to Wales on the Sunday morning. Was absolutely lovely. It was just what I needed. I think the long sort of grey January, February, and being a little bit isolated where we are on the farm and things was getting to me a bit. So it was just lovely to catch up with all my friends. So Carmen and Beverly from A Yarn Story were there, and they were sharing a booth with Max and Vincent from Les Garçons. And then opposite was Nu from Hide and Hammer and her brother Dom. And then I'm sort of going around the room they were all in just so I don't forget anyone. And then Anton and his friend Louis were there from Raw Wool Company, and Jonathan from Jonathan Days. I'm sure you've all watched his videos. He was there, and who else was at the table? think that was everybody. I really hope I haven't forgotten anyone, but I think that's everybody. And then I saw loads of other people wandering around, which was really nice. And it's the first time I'd attended, as I say, not working, which was a little bit strange. So I sort of got there first thing Saturday because I walked in with all the guys. And so Jonathan and I ended up doing a loop of the whole show quite early on. I think we sort of snuck in as the doors opened. Not snuck in, we both bought tickets, but we went in very early, and so we had a nice wander around while it was still quiet, which was really nice. Had some nice catch-ups with people, and I didn't buy anything on that lap. I was quite reserved, and yeah, it was odd though, because I'm not used to having a whole day. I'm used to having sort of 15 minutes here and there to whiz round in between serving customers. So it was nice to do it at a more leisurely pace, and popped out for lunch and had some tea and cake and all that good stuff. So I did find a few treats along the way, which are all in this little bag. So I only bought yarn from one stand, not because I didn't see anything I loved. There was loads there, but I'm trying to work through what I have, and I'm very lucky that I get to do quite a lot of yarn shows with Garth and Orr, and travel around doing those. So I'm trying to be a bit more reserved, because otherwise it just gets stressful and I have more yarn than I can knit with. And there is also the sort of small factor of bank balance, but that's boring, so we'll ignore that for the moment. That sounds very irresponsible, but anyway, I'm waffling. So the yarn I bought at the show was from Along avec Anna. I had a nice catch up with her and her husband. I think we will see them at Wonderwall in when's that, end of April? I have no idea when Wonderwall is, don't use that date at all, but I think they're there, so I'll see them again. But the yarn I got from them is the colour, oh, I'm gonna get this wrong, Celadon, Celadon, in the is this double knit? I can't remember if I got double knit or 4-ply and silk mohair, but I just love this colour. It's one of those shades that's sort of bluey, greeny, grey, and I think I'm gonna make some little fingerless gloves with these, because I have really bad circulation, get really cold hands, but I'm a florist as my job, and when I'm out and about and sort of helping in the mill and things, it's much easier to have your fingers out. So that is what they will become. I think they're going to look really nice together, nice and soft. So I was really pleased to pick those up. And then the other bits that I found, as I say, weren't yarn at all. So there was, what have we got? These, that's a lot of it. Just trying to find everything. Right. So there was a new to me stand called Loom, and she's a dyer from Somerset. Really lovely colours, and there was actually a beautiful sort of inky blue, depths of the sea kind of colour on a, like the sort of chunkier fluff that seems to be quite popular at the minute. So it's not a 4-ply, I think it knits up as a double knit. And I fell in love with it, went away for lunch to try and figure out what pattern I could use, went back and she'd sold out, which was, I'm thrilled for her, because that's the aim. But I do need to go back and order it from her because I loved it. But I did pick up these, which are stitch stoppers. So I know that there's quite a lot of stitch stoppers around, and you can get sort of all the different shapes and characters and all sorts. Not quite my cup of tea, but I saw these and I just thought they were really nice and simple, and two of my favourite colours, so I was chuffed to pick them up. They're kind of rubbery, silicone-y. They've got a hole in, so just shove the needle in there and stop all the stitches falling off. So I'm going to give them a go. I have never bothered with stitch stoppers before, but I think they will come in handy, especially for like the bigger jumpers and things that I've got planned. So I think they will be very useful. And then the other stall that I bought something from was Ethel and Joan, and she makes really stunning, mainly resin buttons, and there were some really cool ones, nice bright colours and glittery and fab, but I have no projects that need buttons, so I restrained myself and didn't pick any of those up. But she did have a stand of beautiful, I'm not sure how well you're gonna be able to see these, stitch markers. So they're these, I got this set of clouds. I'm not doing a very good job of showing you these, I don't think. I might put a close-up in if you can't see them. But so we've got a blue one, and then a little gold disc, which I guess is like the moon or the sun. A sort of moody grey, iridescent white, and then a little lightning bolt. And they're all on this sort of key ring. So very handy for keeping them all together. And I am a sucker for stitch markers, so they made me very happy. And then the other thing she had, which caught my eye, were these little trays. So again, another cloud, slightly stormy, but they're magnetic. So they just will hold either pins. I think I'm going to use it for sewing needles because they're forever sort of falling down the side of the sofa and things. So I thought if I put this on the coffee table, on the little side table, then when I put a needle down, put it on here and it will stay put. That is the aim. Whether that happens in practice, we will see. But yeah, she had some really lovely things. And one final thing that I did pick up at the very end of the show, I've been eyeing them up all weekend, was one of Nu's lovely tie top bags. So this is from Hide and Hammer. They're beautifully sewn. They're all French seams and finished wonderfully, and it's in this amazing neon gingham. And my main project bag is a Hide and Hammer bag, and its leather straps are neon yellow, so I couldn't leave this behind. It was meant to be. So I grabbed one of these, and I find these really handy because you can either sort of use them as is, as a little project bag, but I like to use them to separate things. So if I've got two smaller projects in a bag, then I can have them in tie tops and they don't get all jumbled up and tangled. And also if I want to just take one project with me, I can just pull it out quickly rather than rummaging through, and I know I've got everything I will need. So that was a lovely treat from me to me. And in here we have the rest of the yarn for my long weekend jumper. I've been hanging around with Carmen for too long, calling them sweaters. Yes, so this is Origin. It's 50% merino, 50% Highland wool. So that is, yeah, as I say, the rest of the yarn for my jumper. And Carmen very, very kindly gifted this to me. It was a lovely treat. So I tried on some of the samples to work out what size and things. Yeah, that was really kind of her. So I am really enjoying using this again. And also I joined in on the knit along that she's doing for the Erica Knight collection. So that's been every Monday evening, which has been good fun. I've never actually done a knit along before, so I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but it's really nice just to have a dedicated hour on a Monday evening where I can work on the project and sort of see how everyone else is getting along and chat through any queries anyone has. Yeah, it's just a nice little social evening. And I will actually be seeing Carmen this coming week. Johnny is giving a talk as part of her retreat that she's running in Bath. So that's going to be exciting, an evening at the Roman Baths. And then after that, we are heading off to Nashville, which is slightly bonkers. It feels like it's come around very, very quickly, and I don't feel very prepared for it. I mean, I just have to show up and help sell yarn, so I think I can manage that, but packing hasn't started and we're going in not very long. But it's very exciting. We're going to Nash Yarn Fest, which is the first time that event's been run. It's organised by MDK, Modern Daily Knitting, and they've put together what sounds like an amazing event. So it's in this big, I think it's like a conference space. There's 80 or 90 vendors, big marketplace, lots of other bits and bobs going on. So I'm excited for that. And it's only, we've got the Friday evening as a sort of, I think like a VIP event, and then Saturday, and that's it, which for a yarn show is, as someone working one, is wonderful, because nice, short, sharp, shouldn't be too tiring, jet lag aside. So yeah, that should be really good fun. I have never been to anywhere. I haven't been anywhere other than around Rhinebeck in America, so excited to see a different part of the country, and I'm sure I'll tell you about that in a upcoming video. Thanks so much for watching, and happy making. Bye.